Listen up. 1979. The Golden Triangle. You know the place: Burma, Thailand, Laos, all converging in one hellish knot of jungle and mountains where the opium flows like water and governments pretend they don't see what's happening right under their noses. I was there under petroleum equipment consultant cover. Simple, clean. Made sense for a white guy poking around remote regions where drilling operations theoretically could happen. Theoretically. The cover gave me access. That's what cover does. It opens doors it shouldn't open. Gets you into places you shouldn't be. Lets you ask questions nobody should answer. And in the Golden Triangle in the late 70s, there were plenty of questions worth asking and damn few people willing to answer them. The Burmese military regime, tight. Paranoid as hell. They controlled everything they could reach, and what they couldn't control, they watched. And brother, they were watching me from day one. I knew it. You always know it. There's a feeling you get when you're under surveillance. Your instincts start screaming before your brain catches up. Hairs on your neck. Peripheral vision catching the same face twice. Timing that's too convenient. Patterns where there shouldn't be patterns. I'd been in country maybe 5 days when I confirmed it. Confirmed what I already felt. Burmese military intelligence had me marked, tagged, tracked. They weren't even being subtle about it. That told me something right there they wanted me to know. Wanted me nervous. Wanted me to make mistakes. Well, shit. That was their first mistake. See, I'd volunteered for this assignment. Nobody forced me into Burma. Nobody drafted Billy into the Golden Triangle. When the tasking came down, investigate narcotics networks, map drug production facilities, identify key regime connections to the trade, I raised my hand. Always raise your hand. Volunteer for everything going. What sounds like a mess might be cover for something good. What sounds impossible might be exactly what you need. This one sounded impossible. Burma in '79 was locked down. The military regime ran the country like a prison. Foreigners weren't welcome. Intelligence operators definitely weren't welcome. And Americans asking questions about opium refineries and smuggling routes, that was asking to disappear into a jungle prison and never come out. But that's exactly why I took it. The mission brief was thin. Establish yourself in the border region. Use petroleum consultant cover to access remote areas. Identify production facilities, map transportation networks, document regime involvement, report findings, exfiltrate when compromised. When compromised. Not if, when. They knew I'd get burned. They just needed to squeeze as much intelligence out of the window before it slammed shut. Fair enough. That's the job. You go in knowing you're on borrowed time. The only question is how much you can accomplish before time runs out. I flew into Rangoon on a commercial flight. Visa said petroleum equipment consultant. Passport was clean, one of the good ones. Properly backstopped, would hold up under scrutiny. Had business cards printed in Rangoon the second day. Had a cover story memorized so deep I could recite it drunk, which I did actually in a hotel bar the third night, when a Burmese colonel sat down next to me, uninvited. He spoke perfect English, Oxford accent, smiled like a shark. "Mr. Waugh," he said, not asking, stating. "That's right," I said, kept my voice friendly. "Petroleum equipment, here to assess potential drilling sites in the Northern Territories." "Yes," he said, "we know." "We know." 2 words. That's all it took. They'd identified me before I'd even cleared customs. My cover was intact. They believed I was petroleum equipment. They just didn't believe petroleum equipment was all I was. He didn't arrest me, didn't threaten me, just smiled, bought me a drink, asked polite questions about drilling technology and geological surveys. Let me talk. Let me build the cover deeper. And the whole time his eyes said, "We're watching you. Every step. Every move, every breath." I thanked him for the drink, went back to my room, swept for bugs, found 2, left them in place. Never give away that you know. Let them think their surveillance is invisible. Let them get comfortable. The next morning, I headed north. Took a rattling bus through mountain passes toward Lashio, gateway to Shan State, heart of the Golden Triangle. The regime controlled the towns. The hills belonged to warlords and drug lords and militias nobody could name. My job was to map that chaos. Find the facilities, identify the players, document regime complicity. Simple mission. Terrible, terrible, terrible execution environment. The bus broke down twice. Both times I noticed the same two men from Rangoon on board. They weren't trying to hide. This was psychological pressure. This was, we're here. We're always here. Give up now. I didn't give up. I never quit. That's my only talent. I don't quit. You can track me. You can pressure me. You can make the environment hostile as hell, but I'll keep moving. Keep working. Keep pushing until you physically stop me or I complete the mission. Those surveillance teams didn't know that yet. They'd learn. Lashio sits at the edge of Shan State like a last checkpoint before civilization ends. The town itself was military controlled, checkpoints everywhere, soldiers on every corner. The regime's grip was visible, visible, visible. You could see it in how people walked, how they talked, how they didn't make eye contact with foreigners. I checked into a guest house that smelled like mildew and cigarettes. The owner spoke broken English, took my passport, photocopied it, standard procedure, except he photocopied it 3 times. Once for the guest house records, once for the police, once for military intelligence. They were building a file. Good. Let them build. The more they focused on my petroleum cover, the less they'd notice what I was actually doing. I spent 2 days in Lashio establishing a pattern, met with local officials, asked about geological surveys, showed interest in infrastructure, played the consultant role straight, and the whole time I was mapping the town, identifying military installations, noting vehicle movements, documenting which roads led north into Opium country. My surveillance team stayed visible. Same 2 men from the bus. They rotated with a second team, older, more experienced, 4 total. They followed me to meetings, sat in cafes watching my guest house, made themselves obvious. That told me something important. They didn't have enough bodies to run proper surveillance. They were stretching resources. 4 men couldn't maintain 24-hour coverage without being spotted, so they didn't try to hide. They used visibility as intimidation. Smart, actually. Make the target paranoid, make him check his back constantly, burn his energy, wear him down. But I wasn't paranoid. I was operational. There's a difference. Paranoid means you see threats that aren't there. Operational means you identify actual threats and work around them. I needed to shake surveillance before moving north. The real targets, opium refineries, drug lord compounds, regime payoff points, were in the hills beyond Lashio. I couldn't take surveillance teams into that environment. Too obvious, too dangerous. They'd report my movements before I could gather intelligence. So I had to lose them cleanly, professionally, without making it obvious I was running counter-surveillance. The technique I use is OOO. Simple, effective. You exploit human behavior and logistical limitations. First, I established a routine. Every morning, 7 o'clock, I walked from the guest house to a tea house 3 blocks away, sat outside, drank tea, read a local newspaper I couldn't understand, stayed 45 minutes, walked back. The surveillance team logged this: day 1, day 2, day 3, routine, pattern, predictable. Day 4, I changed the pattern. Walked to the tea house at 7, sat down, ordered tea, then stood up after 5 minutes like I'd forgotten something, walked back toward the guest house. Surveillance stayed put. They expected me to return to the tea house. I didn't. I turned into an alley, walked through a market, exited onto a parallel street, caught a bicycle taxi, heading north. They lost me. For 6 hours, I was free. 6 hours was enough. I'd arranged transport the day before through a contact local merchant who owed favors to people who knew people. He didn't ask questions. I didn't offer answers. He drove a beat-up truck north out of Lashio on a dirt road that climbed into the hills. I sat in the back under a tarp with petroleum survey equipment that actually worked. The road was hell, ruts deep enough to swallow the truck. We bottomed out twice. Took 3 hours to cover 30 miles. But it got me past the checkpoints, got me into Shan State proper, got me where I needed to be. The driver dropped me at a village I won't name, small place, maybe 200 people, houses on stilts, chickens running everywhere, kids staring at the white stranger like I'd fallen from the sky. I had a contact name. Local headman, guy who supposedly knew the area, knew the players, might talk if approached correctly. Took me an hour to find him. He was old, maybe 60, skinny as hell, chewed betel nut constantly, teeth stained red, mouth like a wound. He spoke Thai and Shan and broken English. I spoke enough Thai to communicate. I told him I was surveying potential drilling sites, showed him maps, asked about terrain features, played it straight. He nodded, smiled with those red teeth, didn't believe a word. You looking for oil? He asked in English. That's right, I said. No oil here, he said. Only opium. There it was. Cards on the table. I'm just here to survey, I said. Many men survey, he said. Government men, foreign men. Everyone surveys. Nobody drills. He was telling me he knew exactly what I was, and he was deciding whether to help or report me. I took a risk, pulled out cash. Not a lot. Enough to show respect. Not enough to look like a bribe. I need to see the terrain, I said. Higher elevation. North ridges. That's where the refineries were. We both knew it. He looked at the cash. Looked at me. Spit Beetlejuice into the dirt. 2 days, he said. I show you. Then you leave, never come back. Deal, I said. He took the cash. That was my first mistake. Not paying him that was fine. The mistake was thinking 2 days would be enough time before military intelligence caught up. They were already moving. The headman's name was U-10. That's what he told me to call him. Probably wasn't his real name, didn't matter. He knew the hills like I knew close quarters combat intimately, instinctively, with muscle memory that doesn't require thought. We left the village before dawn, maybe 5 in the morning. Sky still dark. Air cold, cold, cold. I carried survey equipment and a pack with water, rations, medical kit, and a 9mm pistol I'd acquired in Rangoon from a source I won't name. U-10 carried nothing but a machete and a cloth bag with betel nut and rice. He was 70 if he was a day. Moved through that jungle like a shadow. I'm fit, always have been, always will be, but keeping up with U-10 in his own terrain was work. He didn't use trails. He created paths through undergrowth that closed behind us like water. He read the jungle, knew which plants to avoid, which sounds meant danger, which clearings were safe and which were killing zones. We climbed for 3 hours, elevation maybe 3,000 feet, terrain steep, loose soil, roots everywhere. I watched my footing, controlled my breathing, stayed hydrated. Physical fitness isn't optional in this work. You have to move, you have to carry loads, you have to maintain capability under extreme conditions, or you become a liability. U-10 stopped at a ridge, pointed down into a valley. There it was, Opium refinery. Not hidden, not disguised, just sitting there in a cleared area maybe 200 meters below us. Long wooden buildings, corrugated metal roofs, barrels stacked outside, Armed guards walking perimeter, maybe 12 men visible, AK-47s, casual posture, bored. Kun Sa territory, U Tin said quietly. Kun Sa, the Opium King, most powerful drug lord in the Golden Triangle, ran his own army, controlled thousands of square miles, paid off the Burmese regime when convenient, fought them when necessary. This was his refinery. That meant it was protected. Protected meant dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Pulled out binoculars, glassed the compound, counted buildings 6, counted guards 15 total, noted vehicle, access 1 road in, probably 1 road out, saw barrels marked with Chinese characters, precursor chemicals for heroin refinement, saw drying racks for raw opium, saw a generator for power. This was a production facility, major, not some hillside lab. This was industrial scale narcotics production. I memorized everything. Took no photos. Cameras get you killed in this environment. I committed it to memory. Building layouts, security patterns, personnel count, access routes, everything. U Tin tapped my shoulder, pointed left. Another compound, half a mile away. Similar setup, smaller, maybe 6 guards. Many, many, U Tin said. All through the hills. He was right. This wasn't one refinery. This was a network. Dozens of facilities spread across Shan State, all producing opium, all refining heroin, all shipping products south through Thailand to the world market. And the Burmese regime knew, had to know, could not know. The question was how deeply they were involved. Were they just looking the other way, or were they actively profiting? That's what I was there to find out. We moved along the ridge. U Tin showed me 3 more facilities over the next 6 hours, each one similar. Guards, equipment, production, all operating openly, no attempt to hide. That told me the regime wasn't just ignoring it. They were protecting it. Had to be. Nobody runs industrial narcotics operations in hostile territory without protection, without payoffs. Without regime complicity, I was getting what I needed. Intelligence, evidence, locations, patterns, but I had a problem, a big problem. U Tin stopped suddenly, held up his hand, cocked his head, listening. I listened too. Heard nothing. Jungle sounds, birds, insects, wind through leaves. Then I heard it. Voices, distant, maybe 300 meters behind us, coming up the same ridgeline. U Tin looked at me. His face said, "We're compromised." "How many?" I whispered. He held up fingers. 5, maybe 6. "Military?" I asked. He nodded. "Burmese military, not drug guards, not militia, government troops, tracking us, tracking me. My surveillance team from Lashio hadn't lost me. They let me run, let me move, followed at distance, waited for me to lead them somewhere interesting, and I had led them straight to Kun Sa's operation. Damn. This was bad. I was miles from Lashio, deep in Shan State, being tracked by Burmese military intelligence. If they grabbed me here, I'd disappear. No lawyer, no embassy intervention, no press coverage. Just gone. U Tin moved. Fast. He pulled me off the ridge into thick jungle. We dropped 50 meters in elevation in 5 minutes. Scrambling, sliding, branches tearing at clothes and skin. He knew where he was going. I didn't. I just followed. We hit a stream bed. Ankle-deep water. U Tin turned upstream. Walked in the water. No footprints. Basic evasion. Old as warfare itself. We moved for an hour in that stream bed. My boots filled with water. Feet went numb. Didn't matter. Discomfort is temporary. Capture is permanent. U Tin finally left the stream. Pushed into jungle so thick I couldn't see 3 feet ahead. He stopped at a rock outcropping, natural overhang, small cave entrance. He gestured. Inside. I went in. Dark. Smelled like animal den. Bat shit on the floor. U-10 followed. We sat in the dark. Silent. Breathing controlled. I could hear them. The tracking team. Voices closer now. They'd followed us to the ridgeline. Lost the trail. Were searching. We waited. 1 hour. 2. The voices faded. Moved away. Searching another area. U-10 finally spoke. They know you here, he said. They follow you from Lashio. They wait. They see what you see. How do you know? I asked. I know, he said. They do this before. Other foreigners. Same. They follow, they watch, then they take. Take where? I asked. Rangoon. Prison. Some never come back. Well, shit. That was the confirmation I didn't want. Burmese MI wasn't just watching me. They were building a case, documenting my movements, waiting for enough evidence to justify arrest. And I'd just given them exactly that. I'd visited opium refineries, surveyed drug production facilities, gathered intelligence on narcotics operations. That was espionage. That was a capital charge in Burma. That was life in prison, if I was lucky. Execution if I wasn't. I had to exfiltrate soon, before they closed the trap. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I'd seen production facilities. I hadn't seen regime involvement. Hadn't documented payoffs. Hadn't confirmed military protection. I needed one more piece, one more confirmation, and I'd run. U-10, I said. The military, do they protect the refineries? He laughed. Not a happy sound. Bitter. Military is the refineries, he said. Officers own, soldiers guard, government takes money, Kunsa pays, everyone profits. There it was. Confirmation. The Burmese military regime wasn't just allowing drug production. They were partners, owners, profiteers. That was the intelligence I needed. That was mission complete. Now, I just had to get out alive. Getting out of Shan State was going to be harder than getting in. The surveillance team knew I was in the hills. They knew I'd seen the refineries they were hunting. And when you're being hunted in unfamiliar terrain by people who know that terrain intimately, your options narrow down to move smart, move fast, or die. I chose move smart. U-10 had a route. Mountain paths the military didn't patrol. Smuggler trails used by drug caravans but empty during daylight. We'd move at night, sleep during day, avoid villages, avoid roads, avoid contact. It was a 4-day walk back to civilization. Not to Lashio. It was compromised to a border town near Thailand where U-10 had contacts who could get me across 4 days on foot through hostile territory. With Burmese military intelligence hunting me, those were bad odds. But I'd faced worse. And I had one advantage. I don't quit. I never quit. You can make the environment hell. You can stack the deck. You can throw every obstacle imaginable at me. But I'll keep moving, keep pushing, keep working the problem until I'm out or I'm dead. We left the cave after dark, maybe 8 o'clock, quarter moon, enough light to move, not enough to be seen from distance. U-10 set a brutal pace. We covered maybe 12 miles that first night. Terrain was hell. Steep climbs, knife-edge ridges, descents where one wrong step meant a 100-foot fall. I focused on footing, on breathing, on maintaining hydration, on not breaking an ankle in the dark. Physical fitness saved my ass that night, no question. A man who isn't fit couldn't have made that movement, couldn't have maintained that pace, would have collapsed or slowed down or forced compromises that get you killed. Fitness isn't about looking good, It's about survival. It's about capability when everything else fails. Your equipment can break, your weapons can jam, your plans can fall apart, but if you're fit, you can move. And if you can move, you have options. We stopped at dawn, found a thicket of bamboo so dense we had to crawl to get inside. U-10 handed me rice and dried fish. I ate, drank water, checked my feet for blisters, 2 developing, taped them immediately, checked my pistol clean, dry, ready. Then I slept. Sort of. You don't really sleep when you're being hunted. You enter a state between sleep and waking where your brain processes threat constantly. Every sound triggers evaluation. Branches moving, wind or human? Birds calling, natural or alarmed? Silence peaceful or predatory? I woke at noon. U-10 was already awake, chewing betel nut, watching the jungle. They close, he said quietly. How close? I asked. Half day. Maybe less. Damn. They'd tracked us through the night. Somehow, despite our precautions, despite moving in darkness, despite avoiding trails. How? I asked. U-10 pointed at my boots. You walk different. Heavy. They see tracks. They follow. Of course. I was wearing Western boots. U-10 wore sandals made from old tires. My boot treads left distinctive marks. His footprints looked like every other local. Mine screamed, "Foreigner here!" That was amateur hour. That was a mistake I should have anticipated. Can they catch us? I asked. If we stop, yes. If we move, no. They track, we run. They track, we run. Maybe we make border. Maybe they catch us first. Great. A race. Them behind. Us ahead. Winner takes all. We stayed in the bamboo until dark, then moved again. U-10 pushed the pace harder. We covered 15 miles that second night. I was burning energy faster than I could replace it. Eating rice and fish between movements, drinking water from streams U-10 identified as safe, ignoring muscle fatigue, ignoring blisters that had opened and were bleeding into my socks. Pain is temporary. Capture is permanent. Keep moving. Third night, things got interesting. We were crossing a ridge line around 2 a.m. when U-10 stopped, dropped flat. I dropped with him. Below us, maybe 200 meters down the slope, I saw lights, flashlights, moving through the jungle, 5 of them, spread out, searching. They were ahead of us, not behind, ahead. That meant they'd anticipated our route. Put a blocking team in position, classic hammer and anvil. Tracking team behind pushes us forward. Blocking team ahead stops us. We get squeezed in the middle. Professional work. I had to respect it even as it tried to kill me. U-10 whispered, "We go around, east. Longer, slower, but we avoid." How much longer? I asked. 2 days extra, maybe 3. I did the math. We had maybe 1 day of food left. Water we could find, but food, that was a problem. Exhaustion was a problem. My boots were falling apart. My feet were shredded. I was running on willpower and stubbornness, but the alternative was surrender. And I don't surrender. I never quit. East, I said. Let's move. We detoured, turned away from the border route, headed deeper into the mountains, higher elevation, colder, thinner air, terrain even worse. The blocking team didn't see us. We slipped past in the dark, put distance between us and them, bought ourselves time, but time was running out. I could feel it. My body was degrading, feet bleeding, legs cramping, dehydration setting in despite drinking constantly. I was operating on fumes. U-10 was 70 and moved like a teenager. I was half his age and struggling. That told me something about toughness, about resilience, about what the human body can do when it has to. Fourth night, we hit a village, small, remote, U-10 knew people there. He disappeared into a house, came back with rice, fruit, and information. Military stopped searching, he said. They think we go south. They move teams south. Are they right? I asked. No. We go east to border and south into Thailand. That was good news. We'd outmaneuvered them, forced them to guess wrong. Classic evasion, make them commit resources to the wrong area while you slip out somewhere else. We rested in that village for 6 hours. I ate, rehydrated, treated my feet, properly cleaned blisters, applied antiseptic, fresh bandages, dry socks, small things, critical things. Foot care in the field isn't optional. Your feet fail, you fail. U-10 found me boots, local style, soft leather, no distinctive tread. I swapped them for my Western boots. Immediately felt better, lighter, more mobile. We left the village at midnight, 5th night of movement. We were close now. U-10 said the border was maybe 20 miles. One more night of hard movement would get us there. I pushed through, ignored pain, ignored exhaustion, ignored the voice in my head saying, stop, rest, you've done enough. No, not enough. Not until I'm out, not until I'm across that border, not until mission complete. We hit the border just before dawn. No fence, no markers, just jungle on both sides. But U-10 knew. He stopped, pointed at the ground. Thailand, he said. You safe now? I wasn't safe. Not really. Thailand had its own problems, its own surveillance, its own complications, but I was out of Burma, out of Burmese military jurisdiction. That was enough. I paid U-10, double what we'd agreed. He'd saved my life, earned every baht. He took the money, smiled with those red teeth. You never come back, he said. Never, I agreed. He disappeared into the jungle, gone, like he'd never existed. I walked south into Thailand, found a road, hitched a ride on a produce truck, made it to a town, found a phone, made a call to a number in Bangkok. 12 hours later, I was debriefed, told them everything. Production facilities, regime involvement, military ownership, payoff structures, Kunsa's network. They wrote it down, filed reports, sent intelligence up the chain. Did it change anything? Probably not. The Golden Triangle kept producing opium. The Burmese regime kept profiting. Kunsa kept operating. But we confirmed it, documented it, put it on record. That was the mission. That's what I volunteered for. So what did I learn tracking and being tracked through the Golden Triangle? What principles emerged from that mess that apply beyond Burma and opium and military intelligence? 3 things, 3 core lessons that I've carried through every operation since. First, volunteer for everything. I said this before. I'll say it again. When that Burma tasking came down, nobody forced me to take it. It was a bad assignment, dangerous, 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 high probability of compromise, low probability of success. Most guys passed, stayed in safer postings, played it smart. I raised my hand. Why? Because what sounds impossible might be exactly what you need. What sounds like a mess might be cover for something important. You don't advance by playing it safe. You don't get better assignments by refusing the hard ones. You volunteer. You step up. You take the mission nobody else wants. And here's the thing. That Burma operation led to other operations, better operations, harder operations. The agency doesn't forget who raises their hand. They don't forget who delivers under pressure. You build a reputation. You become the guy they call when things are difficult. That reputation is earned. You earn it by volunteering, by not turning anything down, by saying yes when everyone else says no. Second lesson came from those 5 nights in the jungle. 5 nights moving through hostile terrain with Burmese military intelligence tracking me. 5 nights where physical capability was the difference between freedom and capture. Physical fitness isn't optional. Listen, you can be the smartest operator in the world. You can have perfect tradecraft. You can speak 6 languages and have a genius level IQ. But if you can't move when you need to move, if you can't carry a load, if you can't maintain capability under extreme conditions, you're a liability. Fitness saves your life, period. That 4th night when I was running on empty, when my feet were bleeding and my legs were cramping and my body was screaming to stop, fitness kept me moving. Not talent, not intelligence, not experience, fitness. Pure physical capability to continue when everything hurt and quitting would have been easy. You train for that. You maintain that. You make it non-negotiable. I'm in my 70s now. Still train, still run, still maintain capability. Why? Because I never know when I'll need it. And when I need it, it'll be too late to start building it. Your body is your primary weapon system. Treat it that way. 3rd, never quit. This one's simple, simple, simple. It's also the hardest. When I was in that bamboo thicket on day 2, listening to Burmese trackers, getting closer, calculating odds, evaluating options, quitting would have been easy. I could have walked out, hands up, surrendered, taken my chances with Burmese justice. Maybe they'd deport me. Maybe they'd imprison me. Maybe worse. Or I could keep moving, keep pushing, keep working the problem. I kept moving. Why? Because I don't quit. That's my only real talent. I'm not the smartest, not the fastest, not the strongest, but I don't quit. I never have. I never will. That's what got me through 5 nights in Shan State. Not skill, not luck, refusal to stop, refusal to surrender, refusal to accept failure as final. You can track me, you can hunt me, you can make the environment hostile as hell, but I'll keep moving until you physically stop me or I complete the mission. That's warrior mentality. That's what separates people who finish from people who quit halfway. It's not talent. It's decision. You decide you're not quitting. Then you don't. Simple as that. Word count checkpoint to 7,500 words total. Philosophical integration section. Chapter 6. The consultant returns. I made it out of Burma. Got back to Bangkok, debriefed, filed reports, rested for 3 days. Then I volunteered for the next assignment. Pakistan this time. Different mission. Same principles. Go somewhere dangerous. Gather intelligence. Get out alive. Repeat. People ask me, Billy, when did you stop? When did you retire? When did you decide you'd had enough? The answer is I didn't. Not really. I kept working into my 60s, into my 70s. I'm still working now. Different capacity, different assignments, but still working. Why? Because a warrior is someone who wishes to be involved, period. That's the definition. Not killing, not violence, not body count, involvement, being present when things happen, being part of the action. I wanted to be involved. I still want to be involved. That desire doesn't fade. It doesn't retire. It doesn't quit just because you get old. The Burma operation taught me that. Taught me that the mission matters more than comfort. That gathering intelligence in hostile environments is what I'm built for. That tracking and being tracked through the Golden Triangle is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Some guys joined the military for college money, for benefits, for career advancement. That's fine, no judgment, but that's not why I joined. I joined because I wanted to be involved. I wanted to be where things were happening. I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself. Special Forces gave me that. Unconventional warfare, training indigenous forces, operating in denied areas, gathering intelligence. Those missions required involvement, required commitment, required warriors. I was a warrior. I am a warrior. That doesn't change. The Golden Triangle was just one operation, one mission among hundreds. But it crystallized something for me. It showed me that even when things go sideways, even when you're being hunted through hostile jungle by professional intelligence operatives who want you dead or imprisoned, you keep moving. You keep working. You complete the mission. That's not heroic. It's not special. It's professional. It's what you signed up for. The Burmese military intelligence teams that tracked me through Shan State were professionals. Good ones. They anticipated routes, they positioned blocking teams, they coordinated hammer and anvil tactics, they nearly caught me. Nearly. But nearly doesn't count. Either you get caught or you don't. Either you complete the mission or you don't. Either you keep moving or you quit. I kept moving. Mission complete. Intelligence delivered. Operator extracted. That's the job. That's always been the job. Word count checkpoint. To 8,500 words total. Chapter 7, final word. Let me leave you with this. You're not going to Burma. You're not tracking through the Golden Triangle. You're not being hunted by military intelligence. I get that. Your environment is different, but the principles are the same. Volunteer for the hard assignments. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait for guaranteed success. Raise your hand, step up, take the mission that scares you. Maintain physical capability. Whatever your field, whatever your profession, your body is your primary tool. Keep it functional. Keep it capable. You never know when you'll need it. Never quit. Ever. When things get hard, when the odds stack against you, when quitting would be easy, don't. Keep pushing. Keep working. Keep moving forward. Those three principles got me through Burma, through Pakistan, through a dozen other operations I can't discuss. They'll work for you too. Different context, same fundamentals. The warrior mentality isn't about violence. It's about involvement. It's about showing up when things matter. It's about refusing to quit when things get hard. You can develop that. You can build that. It's not talent. It's decision. Decide you're not quitting. Then don't quit. Decide you're maintaining capability. Then maintain it. Decide you're volunteering for the hard assignments. Then volunteer. Do that consistently and you'll become dangerous, capable, valuable. You'll become someone people call when things matter. That's what I did. That's what I still do. The Golden Triangle taught me that lesson hard. 5 nights in hostile jungle. Burmese military intelligence hunting me. Physical capability degrading. Options narrowing. Pressure increasing. And I kept moving. That's the story. That's the lesson. Now it's your turn. Raise your hand. Volunteer. Don't quit. Stay fit. Be involved. That's it. That's the whole damn thing. Now get after it.